Scotland against England. This is the second of 3 matches on the opening weekend. You may already have watched Ireland get off to a winning start against the defending champions Wales. The third match of the weekend is tomorrow in Paris. Pre-tournament favourites France against Italy. Well, the history between these two stretches back 151 years. This, the 140th meeting. Scotland have won just 44 of them. There we take a view inside the Scotland dressing room, and perhaps inevitably Scotland have performed better against England with home advantage. And don't forget, the men in blue triumphed at Twickenham 12 months ago. Typical Scottish weather is what Eddie Jones was forecasting earlier in the week. If that means wind, sub-zero chill, then that's pretty much what we've got this afternoon. Although I have to say, the weather right now perhaps better than it has been all day. Well, so much has already been said about just how pumped up the Scots will be this afternoon. But how about England? Eddie Jones has challenged them to go out there and produce a performance that, in his words, will change their lives. The England coach has done all he can to lighten the burden of expectation, but he and they know that whenever you slip on the white jersey, it comes with pressure. And that has certainly gone up a few bars because of England's performances in last year's Guinness Six Nations. England may have beaten the world champions last time out, but is that desperately for poor 5th place, just 2 wins from 5 matches, that they know needs correcting. How good it is to be here for the Guinness Six Nations, rugby's greatest championship, with the crowds here. And certainly there's no doubt, Scotland against England, the Calcutta Cup, it celebrates not just one of rugby's great rivalries, but sports too. Rugby's greatest championship arrives at one of its high points on the opening day. A contest which transcends sport in so many ways. The English have come to town. The Scots will tell you that they are ready for them. Tom Curry, compared this week by the England coach, Eddie Jones, to a young Richie McCaw, followed out by Maro Itoje, always such a key figure for England. And in certain pockets here at Murrayfield, there are a few boisterous Englishmen. You can see them all around Haymarket and the surrounding streets in this part of Edinburgh last night and today. What a big day it is, though, for that man, Tom Curry. Well, Scotland coach Gregor Townsend is backing experience all the way. The fact the crowds have returned after 2 years of near silence may well have played a role in that decision. Scotland always arrive on this day with hope. This is a Scotland team that knows how to win. We saw that at Twickenham last year. And Gregor Townsend's hand-picked 23 have emerged from the tunnel to be hit by a wall of noise. Well, before the anthems, the team shall, as they did during the Autumn Nations series, stand together in solidarity and support of rugby's unity against racism.
Starting with England.
Almost 2 years away without crowds, the Guinness Six Nations returning to its magnificent self. Let's take a look at the teams. A dozen of the Scots who beat England at Twickenham 12 months ago start here. The only alteration to the pack in that respect sees Grant Gilchrist in for Scott Cummings. Rory Sutherland returns at loose head after missing the November test. The temptation to fast-track Cameron Redpath back into the side after his long absence has been resisted. So it's Sam Johnson and Chris Harris in the midfield. It was Duan van der Merwe's try which separated the sides at Twickenham. He wears 11. Injuries and COVID absences have made it an imperfect preparation for Eddie Jones and England. Just 8 starters remain from the side which beat the Springboks in November. There's a new captain, Tom Curry, wears 7. It's another hybrid backline. Numbers count for little beyond Marcus Smith at 10. There's no bulldozer in the midfield or out-and-out flyer on the flanks, but there's talent everywhere. Here come the replacements. Ben White, until recently Young's understudy at Leicester, poised to make his Scotland debut. England welcome back George Ford. Well, we're almost set to go at Murrayfield. Welcome wherever you're watching in the world. I'm Martin Gillingham. Alongside me, a veteran of 4 Calcutta Cup matches. It's a good afternoon to the former Scotland scrum half. Rory Wilson.
Good afternoon, Martin. What an atmosphere. The crowds are back, 2 top quality sides, almost a roll of the dice. This one is so tight to call, but ultimately it's going to come down to fine margins.
There is the referee from New Zealand, Ben O'Keefe, the 6th time he's taken charge of a Six Nations match.
Everyone behind.
The crowds are back at Rugby's greatest championship to witness the latest instalment in Test Rugby's oldest rivalry. And I have to say that Murrayfield really is bubbling. There's plenty of breeze out there, Rory, and if it is blowing in one direction, I'd suggest it's at the backs of the English in this first 40.
Yeah, I know this Murrayfield pitch only too well, and that breeze, it does swirl. The wind typically comes over the top of the west and swirls underneath the east stand. But whatever the case, Marcus Smith, from that kickoff, he's certainly had a measure of the wind. It was pinpoint accuracy, landing being taken by Stuart Hogg, but just absolutely emptied by the chasing Max Mallins and Elliot Daly. So a great first touch for that young man in the number 10 jersey for England.
Testing afternoon for both hookers. Their line-out throwing will be scrutinised. Nick Ezekwe rising high as he has done all Gallagher Premiership season. England onto the front foot immediately. There is Ben Youngs, now just 1 short of the England record for international caps. He may well pass Jason Leonard or move alongside him next week and past him in 3 weeks' time. Kyle Sinclair, they've got 2 robust, powerful, dogged props. There's Duan van der Merwe. He'll be very happy just to have pocketed that one. It's particularly tough for the back threes. They will be under heavy scrutiny today.
Yeah, it certainly is, but for Ben Youngs there, he would much rather have had that ball being competed for by somebody else. It's straight down the throat of van der Merwe.
There's Youngs feeding the ball on. A couple of grabs taken there by Max Malin. So dangerous in broken play. He's not the fastest wing who's ever played for England, but believe me, he's got very exciting feet. That's Ludlam, a natural 7 playing at 6 today. Henry Slade wearing 12 on his back, perhaps more regularly with 13. Here's Sinclair. Hamish Watson adds 1 more to the tackle count. Watson hasn't missed the tackle in the Six Nations for 3 years. It really is a remarkable number. There goes Marcus Smith. Freddie Stewart. His kick is deflected.
Control the front there,
Stewart making his Six Nations debut. It's the first time he's played for England away from Twickenham.
Come in, please.
He's a real talent, isn't he? But that defensive set there went to the Scottish coaches. I would say Steve Tandy, the Scotland defensive coach, will be delighted by that first defensive set. Accuracy, line speed, chop tackles, forcing England into the second kick of their possession so far in the afternoon.
Big left palm from Maro Itoje. Here's Henry Slade being held up there by that man again, Hamish Watson. Lionel Nallet holds the record for most consecutive number of tackles in the Six Nations, the former France captain, but I reckon that my record might go after about 10 minutes of this match. The carry walk forward from Ezekwe. He'll be glad to be back in Test rugby after what has been a long absence. Sinclair on the floor, getting himself isolated. The penalty goes to Scotland.
Outstanding work on the ground, and actually just hearing through Ben O'Keefe's microphone there, Stuart Hogg has run 30 yards from the backfield just to talk about the patience, and that is a perfect word to describe the opening defensive sets for Scotland. Finn Russell's touch, other than Duhan van der Merwe's diffusing of a Ben Young's kick, was the first time Scotland have actually touched the ball in almost 4 minutes, and it was around the breakdown. Brilliant jackal by Matt Fagerson. A huge contest area this afternoon, but Scotland there come out with the spoils.
Here's George Turner, very competitive for the number 2 jersey in Scotland these days. Finds the long reach of Grant Gilchrist. Well, the ball's gone forward in the line-out. We've talked a lot over the course of the last couple of days, not just us, not just the media, but also Eddie Jones, about typical Scottish weather and the impact the conditions will have on the game today. I was chatting with Stuart Barnes, the former England fly half, just before the game, and he said to me, don't worry about the conditions. Conditions like this, the best New Zealand sides would thrive in these.
Yeah, these are highly skilled athletes out there, and the expectation they'll put on themselves will be to not make any errors. That one there was actually an unforced error from Scotland, a skill error in the line-out. Grant Gilchrist just not managing to get a hold of the George Turner throw, and it's a cheap possession handover to England, because England hadn't competed for it. It was in the transfer of the ball in that maul. And this afternoon, I'd like to think that the errors will come from the pressure from the opposition rather than being the skill errors. We'll hear what Ben O'Keefe has to say.
I did not see any leaning there. Stay down. We've got good space.
Well, a couple of law trials and clarifications we will perhaps be able to illustrate for you over the course of this afternoon. One of them here is the so-called break foot of the hooker, and you can see how that foot, let's just focus on George Turner on the right there, how at that position his foot is actually ahead of his knee. That is intended to prevent what has come to be known as axial loading, the pressure, the unintended consequence of new laws, the pressure that is applied on the neck of the hooker. Let's see that again.
Here's an interesting call, and perhaps the first opportunity to talk about Owen Farrell's missing out on this afternoon. I can't help but think a free kick given there, had Owen Farrell been captain, he would have stepped forward and said, this one's going to go 25 metres high, just 5 metres in from the touchline, and let's absolutely empty the opposition catcher. On this occasion, actually, England have opted for the scrum, so we'll see what they do from it, but they've lined up with Mallins right on the right touchline here.
Well, they've got another go here if they want it. There are perhaps one or two question marks in these conditions about Scotland's back three. They know that back three with Stuart Hogg at 15, Darcy Graham on the right wing, Duhan van der Merwe on the opposite flank. They will look to neutralise any high balls that come their way, but I'm sure that is a potential area of fragility that the England coaching staff may well have recognised.
Undoubtedly, it's the creation of 50-50s or 60-40s by good kicking. We saw Ben Young's early doors going for the skies, not with the accuracy he would have liked, but it's undoubtedly an area whereby you can get some meterage gain without too much effort.
Well, the arm is out from Ben O'Keefe, so there's a penalty advantage here to Scotland.
Still playing advantage.
He's still playing the advantage, he's not now.
No advantage. Not staying straight.
That'll be a little bit of a concern for Peter de Villiers, the Scotland scrum coach, and Matt Proudfoot, South African, former Scotland international, now in Eddie Jones's box.
It's very clear when you guys are accurate. Yes. Good. There's your penalty.
It would be overstating things, Rory, to say that the selection of Rory Sutherland was controversial, but certainly was a debatable call. Rory Sutherland, a British and Irish Lion in the middle of last year, but he's not played a lot of rugby since then. He missed November because of injury. He missed 3 weeks last month because of a suspension.
Yes, perhaps one. It's a really close call between Rory Sutherland and Pierre Schoeman, and I think perhaps on this occasion, even Schoeman being on the bench for his impact as someone who is fully fit, who is sharp. Maybe the final 30 minutes we will see Schoeman come on, but Sutherland is a canny operator for British and Irish Lion in the summer.
Atoji with both hands. Out comes the captain, Curry. Carry forward there from Simmons. Simmons has been in wonderful form. A hat-trick last, oh dear, and that just bumped off Luke Cowan-Dickey. Bit of a miscommunication there within the England ranks. Here's Malins. He's got Stewart alongside him if he's looking for support. He takes the contact. Good tackle there coming in from Sutherland. There's Johnny Gray. He doesn't miss many of those either.
No.
Marcus Smith. That was Elliot Daly. The captain Curry was on the deco run.
Okay, Blue, wait!
And it's a decent clearance. And that was well caught in the outfield by Elliot Daly. Marcus Smith releases Malins. Malins with a bit of space. Impressive step. The gap was closed. There goes Genge inside to the 22. On to Sinclair. There's Smith. Daly rolls it off the left foot. That's for Maitland to go after. Well, Darcy Graham made himself quite useful there. I think just perhaps Joe Marchant may feel that his line for the ball was blocked there. But that was clever, canny play from the Scotland right wing. Through the first 10 minutes, as you might expect, it has been frenetic, but no points yet. The ball's still alive. Here goes Freddie Stewart. The tackle made by Zander Fagerson. There goes Sam Simmons. That really is his calling card. He's so explosive off the mark. Atoji. On from Marcus Smith. Here's Ellis Genge. The tackle from Chris Harris. Marcus Smith. Elliot Daly. Space hit for Malins. Important tackle coming in from the Scottish captain. That was important from Stuart Hogg.
Fantastic attack by England. Moving the ball, moving the target, creating space, building that pressure on Scotland. They'll be disappointed to have been dragged into the touch, but here's you see that Elliot Daly in the 13 jersey, what he brings is vision, his ability to move the ball into those outside channels. Scotland doing excellently to scramble and get that man into touch, but pressure all coming from England at the moment. Camped inside the Scottish half and just relentless with the attack.
Well, those numbers telling the story. Meters made. Almost all England's.
Interestingly though, for all of the possession, for all of the territory, 0 line breaks, which will delight Gregor Townsend and the coaches and Stuart Hogg and his players, the defensive leaders, Jamie Ritchie, Hamish Watson, Chris Harris. Because ultimately what that's saying is that they're keeping the line full, they're keeping the line gelled together, they're working together as a defensive side and saying to England, look, you're going to have to win collision after collision after collision to break us down. We just see here the head clash, Ali Price. It was the footwork of Sam Simmons that actually led to Ali Price copping one on the face, and I think there'll be an element of relief that the British Lions scrum half is back on his feet and back into action. It looked like a sore one straight on the nose, and with the way that Sam Simmons moves, certainly doesn't miss. He's a powerful unit on the carry.
And with so much emphasis placed on potential head injuries and high tackling anything when you see a tackler coming away with a bump to the head. That also brings some inevitable concern. There's Fagerson. That was well worked by the Scots.
Great carry by Matt Fagerson, just makes 5 metres and sets up a brilliant platform for an excellent Ali Price exit. That's just accuracy. That's exactly what you're looking for as a coach or a player, is to get that target, get front foot ball off the set piece and provide the platform whereby England couldn't put Ali Price under pressure because Matt Fagerson had won that initial collision.
Blue 9.
Well, as a consequence of that, despite having delivered what was pretty much an Antoine Dupont style exit from his own 22, Ali Price is being called to the sideline for a head injury assessment.
Going off HIA.
No, that I assume will have come from the independent medical official.
I'm off HIA, wait.
When I saw it, he got back to his feet relatively quickly, but what a huge moment here.
So, a test debut for Ben White.
Okay, come in, White.
Playing opposite a former teammate. He was Ben Young's understudy at Leicester for so long.
It's a maul in the 5.
Here he is wearing the blue of Scotland.
Say maul. That's 1.
Well, once again, it's being so well orchestrated by the men in white.
Here it is.
There's the ball for Ben Youngs. Another carry there from Simmons.
His footwork before the contact is just outstanding, Simmons. He ends up hitting an arm rather than running straight into a body, but Scotland have done well to repel that maul.
Here's a tester for Van der Merwe. Well, he was equal to that one.
Taken back here.
Here's White. On to Hamish Watson. Look there at Tom Curry, 7 on 7. Back from White.
Okay, 21. Yep.
The kick from Finn Russell. Across comes Freddie Stewart.
Okay, White, out.
Bit of a miscue there from the Leicester fullback. But he's so good in the air, he atones by claiming the ball for England. That was his Tigers teammate Youngs.
Wing is fine here.
Marcus Smith picks his spot, but it was so well anticipated by Hogg, who rolls it from a tight angle, the classic spiral. And that was a stunning piece of fullback play, from anticipation to positioning to the execution of the kick.
Martin, it just highlights the quality of Stuart Hogg to read that play, to read the shape of Marcus Smith's body when he actually went for the kick, covers, catches it in the 5 metre line. Look at this for a spiral, straight down the 5 metre line. And when you talk about momentum shifts, England in possession, 30, 40 metres from Scotland's line, that read for Stuart Hogg gets them 40 metres further up the field and could put the pressure on England again.
And as Rory was saying, the flight of that ball off the boot of Hogg, that was no fluke, that was intended. That's why he rolled it off the instep to create that,
penalty advantage,
to use a bit of golfing parlance, quite a significant draw. Well, 3 out of 3 from Duan van der Merwe.
On the arm in the air, interference.
However, there was interference from Scotland.
Blue 6 missed the ball on the arm in the air.
I've just spent the past 30 seconds or so looking down into the pitchside coaching box for England, and I think a certain Richard Cockrell is down there filling that box this afternoon, and he was certainly left Ben O'Keefe in no doubt at all about potentially a bit of foul play from the line out there. He is making himself heard down on the touchline, obviously very, very familiar with the surroundings here at BT Murrayfield, having been in charge of Edinburgh Rugby for a good few years.
Don't play the man. Don't pull down.
And you just see it's the arm coming through. Jamie Ritchie going for the ball, but ending up catching Ludlam on the inside of the arm. You cannot pull the arm when you've got someone being thrust 8 feet up into the air. There needs to be safety.
There he is, Jamie Ritchie. He's one of those who'll be scrambling for supremacy on the floor. There's another of them. The New England captain, Tom Curry. Here's Youngs. On to Ludlam, the Northampton Saint. Sam Johnson tries to rip it. Referee just wondering if there was a knock on there. He's got his arm out now, so there's a penalty coming. It's straight in front. It's a little more than 30 metres out. We may be about to see the first shot at goal.
That was just one of the soft penalties that will frustrate Scotland. Playing the 9, I think it was Johnny Gray came through and grabbed a hold of Ben Youngs, and Scotland to then have been very, very patient defensively. You just see here the tackle, Matt Fagerson goes low, Sam Johnson has a go, and then from there Johnny Gray over the top.
So he just pulled him in. Grabs
a hold. He actually calls for the knock on Johnny Gray there, and I wonder if he just then thought he was playing with house chips, knowing that there was going to be a scrum. As it was, you cannot do that, and it's just an easy penalty.
Then we just got to keep working good space, the line out.
Ben O'Keefe to gives Marcus Smith the opportunity for the first time at goal.
Cool. Yeah, in speed, I feel like we're getting the ball out. There's not seeing any obvious stuff that's off momentum.
Marcus Smith really was in superb form in the autumn.
The players. Good decisions.
Well, it goes through, but I think it's fair to say it wasn't out of the middle. There's a shake of the head.
Yeah, I think he knew straight off the boot. I'm not. We'll see this again from behind. It was almost just off the inside of the ankle. He got fortunate with the little soft fade, shall we say. Martin will give him the benefit of the doubt. He's managed to guide it through, but I think England well deserving that, getting some points on the board. 73% possession in the opening 17 minutes of this match. They would have been desperate to get the scoreboard moving, and they finally have.
The Scottish crowd there were cheering the chase and the tackle from Darcy Graham. Darcy Graham, the physically slightest man on the pitch, quickly taken by Turner to Ritchie. This is what Scotland have to produce today. The carry there from Sam Johnson. White. There's Stuart Hogg. Oh, he's through. And here goes Darcy Graham. He's looking for support. He may not need them. It's on to White. What a debut this is. Well, if you'd said 20 minutes ago that the try would come, or the first try, from a man who learns his trade at Welford Road, you'd almost certainly have said Ben Youngs, but it's not. It's that man wearing blue for the first time, Ben White.
What a moment. The Scavengers try, but look at the work done here. Stuart Hogg, look at the ball there to Darcy Graham, straight through the middle. Footwork. Dances his defender inside out. I think it was Marchant. And from there, Ben White. But that was it. Stuart Hogg and Ezekwe bite in on him, lifted his head. Darcy Graham hit the outside shoulder. Look at this footwork. Told lies with his eyes, Darcy Graham. And on the inside, Ben White. Look at that. What a moment for that young man. Dives over. Scotland respond immediately and make the most of their first meaningful possession.
Against the run of play, doesn't really do it justice. Finn Russell makes it worth 7. A dream start for that man.
We're only going to see the footwork here from Darcy Graham. He laid it on a plate for White. Dives in. Russell turns 5 into 7, but that little pat there, I've got a funny feeling, as Steve Tandy saying to Gregor, you picked that one out. You knew that good
advantage, knock on.
But it was Elliot Daly there with the tackle on Hogg. Cowan Dickey. Marchant's getting after it. Finn Russell had to be on his mettle.
On the fight,
midway through talking about how Gregor Townsend had done a brilliant job of managing to choreograph that set play from the line out, while Stuart Hogg was absolutely emptied while midway through his kick exit routine. Elliot Daly didn't miss with that shot. Hogg just managed to touch it, and Cowan Dickey, credit to him, saw the space in behind, didn't come to anything on that occasion.
Another carry there from Simmons. On there from Ben Young. Here's Marchant. Upended. Sinclair inside there to Maro Itoje.
No, release.
England have been stung, there's no doubt about that. They have dominated the opening quarter of this match, but they find themselves trailing. Ben Youngs on there to Marcus Smith. Here goes Ezekwe. Ezekwe's return to Test Rugby after 3.5 years, and England are penalised.
Yeah, a real theme coming through from this Scottish defence is line speed, but also the willingness to go low and high. They're actually looking a little bit for the choke tackle that is we're more accustomed to seeing coming from Ireland. But Scotland, the second player going up top, probably anticipating that there's not going to be an offload thrown in these conditions. On that occasion, it was actually Nick Ezekwe got away from his support players, and as soon as that happens, the men over the top of the ball have all rights to the turnover, and they grabbed it on that occasion. And Finn Russell, as Finn Russell does, tries to take every chunk of that touchline away and set up the platform for Scotland to go again.
Well, there is Ali Price. They went off for the
lines the mark,
head injury assessment.
Inside, it's inside.
So the assumption is that Ben White is staying out there.
Oh!
Johnny Gray that time, rising high. George Turner getting his hands on the ball. It's been taken down by Scotland, says Ben O'Keefe. Here's the try scorer White, just burrowing away, trying to get hold of the ball. To Zander Fagerson, who took that rock back on his heels. It's been lost. England have turned it. If they can get wide here, well, they've gone for the corner, and back goes Hogg, scuttling back. It's a very tight angle, and Joe Marchant got in the way, but I guess if there is some consolation, it will be a Scotland throw.
That left foot of Elliot Daly, look at the accuracy there. 2 metres from the touchline, 5 metres out from the goal line. The chase from Marchant was excellent. One of the reasons that Eddie Jones has picked Marchant is his defensive effort and his kick chase on that occasion rewarded. Such an important arrow now for Turner.
Hold! Advantage, jumping across.
England have been penalised for jumping across in the line-out.
Jumping across to the line-out on top of them all. Jumping across.
And with that competition, Martin, that's where, you know, when you put people up in the air to compete, the lifters naturally try and force them onto the side of the opposition. You just see here Ezekwe, brilliant lift by Sinclair. Itoje actually ends up tearing, leaving him behind, and to drag down Johnny Gray. But from there, Ezekwe was over onto the other side, and it's a soft penalty in some ways. It's one that you kind of live by the sword, die by the sword when you compete, but also know that it's such a fine line between success and ultimately a 40-metre yardage, a 40-metre loss of territory.
There he is, Nick Ezekwe. He was replaced early on in the first half of the Test match against South Africa at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. Well, Ali Price is back. Well, it's been a cameo, but it's been a rather profitable one for Ben White. Whatever happens from here in his Test career, that will live with him for the rest of his life. He can smile.
He certainly introduced himself to a number of the 67,500 capacity crowd here at BT Murrayfield, because he wouldn't be a name that all that many Scotland rugby fans would have known too much about prior to this.
Well, the quick short line out has worked once for Scotland, but not a second time.
Blue, watch your timing on the jump, not too early, okay? Not too early on the jump. On the
24 minutes gone in the cauldron of Murrayfield.
2-5.
Scotland looking for victory here. It would be the first time they have recorded back-to-back wins in the Calcutta Cup for 4 decades. Henry Slade upended. Grant Gilchrist there competing. It's there though for Ben Youngs. Here's Curry again, direct, straight into Matt Fagerson.
It's a great carry, Tom Curry. Physicality, not quick ball, so Ben Youngs decides to stick it in behind once again.
Well, that was superbly placed there by Ben Youngs, but look at Duhan van der Merwe. Well, Duan van der
No,
Merwe
never on the ball, never on the ball.
broke through more tackles, beat more defenders than any player in last season's Six Nations. And Scotland have the penalty.
Number 2, White, offside. Was he never back or just early?
As if England
2
needed to
White,
be
never back. Ruck.
reminded about the danger of that man that smiled to him. I think he saw a little bit of opportunity. Ellis Genge in the midfield on the kick chase managed to get round him. It was Nick Ezekwe actually, who, an outstanding athlete in that number 5 jersey for England, did brilliantly to eventually do enough, lassoed van der Merwe's legs to get him to ground. But England competed in the ruck, over-competed, knowing that they were up in Scotland's territory. Russell has missed touch on this occasion, though. That's a mistake.
Well, it wasn't the perfect strike from the Scotland fly half. There's Freddie Stewart. Stewart, who scored tries in the Test matches against Australia and South Africa in November. Another tester. That was well taken by the fly half.
No, it's not, it's not.
Well, Finn Russell it was who waved his magic wand here 4 years ago when Scotland recorded that magnificent win. One of the observers these days, rather than one of the players, Ryan Wilson, did say during the week that Scotland have to try and get under the skins of the English. That's certainly what Ryan Wilson did 4 years ago. Remember the dust-up with Owen Farrell in the tunnel before the game had even started. There's Ben Youngs. On to Sinclair. That was good. The two props combining. There's Ludlam shoveling the ball on. Itoje. Now there's some space. Malins slots it through. And that is innocuous. Easy for Stuart Hogg.
Hey? No, it's got to go dead for that. It's got to go out for that.
Again, England, interesting tactic from them. Understanding Scotland front-load the defensive line, and once again, inside the final third of Scotland's danger area, the red zone, and they choose to kick the ball away. Obviously, this relatively new law with the goal line dropout that comes as a result means that they will get the ball back, and Stuart Hogg, it's the first time I've seen this for a long time, a short kick-off like that.
Got back by White.
Yes, it's one of those instinctive reactions which rugby players have had to address a little bit, particularly those who operate in the back three. What do you do when the ball goes bounding over your own try line? Smith just tries to thread it through again off the outside of the boot. And that was sublime from the Harlequins fly half.
It's delicious. It's great game management by Marcus Smith, knowing once again only Stuart Hogg in the backfield there. Scotland understand the threats coming around the corner.
2-2. Line out now.
Also, Martin, it's worth mentioning for the viewers around the world the depth of the in-goal area here at BT Murrayfield, and therefore by kicking the ball away when you know it's going to be a goal line dropout, you've got 20 plus metres worth of real estate behind the posts. That is an area that Scotland still have to defend, or England still have to defend when they are inside their own red zone.
It has been a feature of Murrayfield for years and years. Back there from Ali Price. Finn Russell.
Okay, stop,
to
wait,
Hogg.
one.
Two of the most experienced heads. And it's rare that Freddie Stewart misses one. He did that time. There goes Luke Cowan-Dickie. A much more slimmed down figure than he was the last time we saw him wearing white. He's off the crisps and the chocolates and the alcohol. He says it really has made a difference to him. Scotland have come off their feet. Another soft penalty. So there is an advantage here being played. And there's a gap. And it's been exploited by Ben Youngs. What an important tackle that was. They're still going forward though, England. They've got an advantage. Here's Youngs again. On there to Marcus Smith. The arm is up here from Henry Slade. Well, Smith needed a pitching wedge and he took out a 9-iron.
Those are the fine margins that I talked about before kickoff, Martin, that it's just 2-3 yards. Henry Slade saw the space in behind. Duan van der Merwe had to step up. They're going to come back for the penalty. There was an opportunity there. Look at that stat. Own ball, you know, England, look how much territory they have had, particularly in that third quarter. The pressure that they're building on Scotland didn't come to anything on that occasion. Opportunity again for Smith potentially to go. He's shaped for the corner. But it was a penalty given against Xander Fagerson, who was rather digging around as if in the bottom of a bag of popcorn for the final few kernels.
Missed it first time, second time over.
And he took a second and third go at it. Ben O'Keefe quick to penalise him, and it's given England this platform now. They'll be desperate to try and build on that 3 points. So much possession, 64% possession, and all of the territory, pretty much 80% territory inside Scotland's half.
What do you call it in these parts? Dreich, isn't it?
It is Offie Dreich.
It's getting wet. Maro Itoje. Cowan Dickey sticks it under his right arm. Scotland on defensive duty. England going forward towards the try line. 5 metres to go. Scotland have responded well. Here comes the secondary surge. Have they got it down? Henry Slade is right in the thick of it. Ben O'Keefe says it's held up. It will be a goal line clearance.
Goal line drop.
So now it's the goal line dropout, of course. This again is where the laws come into play. Ben O'Keefe right on top of that one. And you just see there, Cowan Dickey almost like he had it in the wrong arm, couldn't turn round. Darcy Graham hanging on for grimly. And Chris Harris eventually held up, but of course that would have typically been a 5 metre scrum, Martin, but prior to the law change, now it's that goal line dropout.
What an interesting one that is. Again, one that gives Scotland the opportunity to contest it, but it's England who have it, just outside the 22. Here's Ben Youngs considering the options. Marcus Smith was on the decoy, it went to the captain Curry. There's Youngs again. Kyle Sinclair having to do so many of the hard yards today, along with Ellis Gens. Look at George Turner making a real nuisance of himself. Back here to Slade. Slade weighing up the options. Picked up neatly on the half volley there by Daly. Here goes Slade. They've got some Super Bowl players in the back line. This numberless back line that England have effectively. They can play all over the park. Sinclair. Born to be a tight head.
Ruck is already formed. Ruck is already formed. 6 came over the top, use his hands.
Over the top there from Jamie Ritchie, using his hands.
No, I've been happy, sure. Yeah, genuine. That one there, Ruck had formed. Jamie came over. Okay. I'll keep looking to make sure they're rolling. Shot called.
Stuart Hogg just asking the question there about the opportunity to jackal. On that occasion, Ben O'Keefe's given the penalty against Jamie Ritchie. You see here, the carry from Sinclair. He's now saying the ruck is formed. Oh, it's a tight call. On another day, Jamie Ritchie gets the benefit of the doubt there. But there, he puts his hands up, pleads.
All right, boys, so we're still working hard.
But it's gone against them.
We haven't had a scrum since, but
so little latitude, fine lines, and all manner of rugby cliches.
Absolutely, I think it's been keenly contested. It's been absolutely ferocious. The breakdown scrappage, both back rows loaded with competitors on the ground, right across the side. In fact, both teams. Fine line. That one's gone England's way.
That was out of the middle. It's worth 3. It's 7-6 to Scotland. Well, remember 12 months ago on the opening weekend at Twickenham, 52 weeks ago, it was a single try from Scotland from Duan van der Merwe relatively early in the match, which proved decisive.
Martin, you'd argue in this game so far, Scotland really have had one meaningful possession so far, and they've turned it into 7 points. Now, they'll be desperate. They won't be happy with that because they're aware that you cannot defend all game long and expect the defence to hold firm. They've been really disciplined, really patient defensively. A couple of misdemeanours, but on the whole, they'll be delighted. But they'll be desperate for a bit of possession in the final 5 minutes of this first half.
They'll be absolutely delighted with the scoreline, but no doubt it is double-edged, isn't it? Real concern, because they have to turn something around. They can't continue like this. England have been such a dominant force in the opening 35 minutes.
Lou, let him go.
Ali Price just asking for Gilchrist to move a little bit closer.
Thank
Price.
you for...
Russell. It's hanging in the air. Malins calls for it.
Good contest.
He's a quality player, is Max Malins.
Everyone's on.
Equally happy at full-back, wing, even at fly half, where we first saw him playing
Wait here.
in white
Hold there, Mark.
for England under-20s 6 years ago. Here's Freddie Stewart.
Inside 22.
Dare I say that was a miscue?
I'm 40 metres away from Stuart Hogg here, but on the kick, I've been able to see with his new teeth the breadth of his smile there, knowing he put it down the middle and then narrowed Freddie Stewart's angle. And it's a net gain for Scotland. He saw the space, chased after it, managed to put Stewart under pressure and win his side of possession. It's just such fine margins. This is really on a knife edge. It's a cracking game.
England will look to pressurise Scotland here. Well plucked out of the air by Johnny Gray. Ali Price. Here comes Van der Merwe trying to hurdle his way through. It's a penalty against the Scots.
Release the ball. Second go.
Van der Merwe failing to release it in the tackle.
I'd imagine he thought it was actually away, I would have thought, rather than the tackle being completed. We might see it on a replay here, but we know Duhan van der Merwe, he only needs an inch of space and he can be devastating. On that occasion, the English defender, I didn't see it first time round who it was, just did enough. We'll see here on the replay, Van der Merwe is Daly, and yeah, fair play to him, he completed the tackle. Van der Merwe then has to release before getting back to his feet. As it is, Curry probably would have won the penalty anyway for him, but outstanding defence by Elliot Daly in that number 13 channels, an area that he's been questioned defensively historically. On that occasion, got it bang on.
Well, it's bad enough having Duhan van der Merwe running at you when he starts hurdling as well. That is how good that tackle was from Elliot Daly. Cowan Dickey. Well, Grant Gilchrist almost got there. Sam Simmons. And this time it's England who are penalised.
Sixers is getting onto his feet. White has gone straight off your back. I think it was 14.
I guess it's a typical winger's clear, if there is such a thing.
Off feet.
You hear Ben O'Keefe saying Max Malins is identified as going straight off his feet. You see, it's actually brilliant defence. Jamie Ritchie in particular, I think it's a secondary effort. They talk a lot nowadays at the top end of the game about this bounce, this ability to get back into the game when you've been in and around a tackle area, so that you're not out of the game, that you minimise the time that you're out of the game. And on that occasion, it was Ritchie's bounce back to his feet that probably had Max Malins panic a little bit, go straight through the ruck, and Finn Russell's found a good outcome. Can Scotland finish this half on a high?
Well, the numbers there at the bottom of your screen, not great reading for fans of Scotland, but it's the one at the top of your picture which really matters. You'd have to say those two sets of stats appear to be utterly out of sync. The beauty of rugby union. There goes Zander Ferguson.
Tackle roll!
On goes George Turner, being met by Sinclair. There it is for Ali Price. Picked up by Sam Johnson. He was the first receiver that time. Hogg into the line, trying to jink his way through. On there from Johnny Gray. Russell. Flat pass there to Gilchrist.
Vantage, no clear release.
There's a penalty coming here for Scotland. It'll chip over the top. Freddie Stewart steps in, but it is a Scotland penalty straight in front, 39 metres out.
Walk back, we've got a penalty. Walk back, let's go. Walk back, let's go. Yep, but you slowed it down. I will.
Ellis Genge and Finn Russell sharing a few stories on that occasion, but Scotland will be delighted with that set there. Just the attacking set to look after possession. England have been so competitive at the breakdown on the few occasions Scotland have been in possession. When you look right across the back row, Curry, Ludlam, Simmons, Cowan Dickey. On this occasion, look at Maro Itoje. Right over the top, his hands are beyond the ball, his weight is not supported. You could argue that Sinclair was possibly legal on that, but Ben O'Keefe saw the picture that Maro Itoje painted and has given Finn Russell the opportunity, as the clock ticks into the red, to extend Scotland's lead in what's been a pulsating first 40 minutes. Only the one try, but my goodness, the intensity, the collisions, the desire to keep that intensity and physicality high.
Huge kick. Abbreviated approach run from Finn Russell. Well, the crowd rose to their feet long before that pass between the uprights. Scotland, against the run of play, against all the possession and territorial statistics, lead at half-time in the Calcutta Cup.
Make sure you look out for our PD. There's Duke team who are going to be firing Scotland team beanies and shirts into the stands. Team again, a side Scotland shirt. Well, on site today, please do remember to smell positive
Play on. Play on. On the line, England, on the line. Play on. On the line, England, on the line. Play on.
So Scotland leading by 10 points to 6. But Rory, if you look at some of the numbers, the statistics that we have in front of us after that first 40, if you consider, well, in terms of tackles made, Scotland having to make almost 3 times more than England did. Scotland, in terms of carries, 26 to England's 59. The one thing I guess Scotland did do, which is to their enormous credit, they conceded just 6 penalties in the first 40, and we know how much in this game the pressure tends to convert into penalties conceded.
Yeah, they stayed incredibly disciplined, incredibly patient defensively. They got their accuracy right, their tackle technique and tackle choice has been good, but they'll be very, very wary. They'll under Gregor Townsend will have made no illusions at half-time. Scotland cannot afford to be on the wrong end of the possession stats the way they have the territory stats. Almost 75% of territory has gone England's way. Over 60% of territory has gone England's way in the first half. You cannot just continue to make tackle after tackle after tackle and stay in the fight. Scotland have done incredibly well to do it for 40 minutes, but they need to shift the dial. For England, it's a case of upping their ability to be clinical, upping their accuracy in the red zone, and probably staying a little bit more patient, because they've kicked a lot of ball away in that final third.
So Scotland have a 4-point lead in spite of almost everything that happened in that first half.
Yeah, ball's out, ball was out.
Ben Youngs, early catching practice in this second half for Stuart Hogg. England in preparation for the weather that we're seeing today, which isn't anything like as bad as it might have been. They were literally dumping balls in the bath for catching practice, dumping them in, giving them to Marcus Smith, firing them up in the air to the back 3 so that they could simulate the circumstances that they're facing today. And there is the man who is just simply England's high bomb disposal expert, Freddie Stewart.
He should wear a crown. He is king of the skies, isn't he, Stewart? Unbelievable. 6'5" and makes every one of those inches count.
Malin's just pirouetting, but then getting caught by Chris Harris. Dean Richards, who is the Newcastle coach, used to coach Chris Harris, described him to me not that long ago as Europe's best defensive midfielder, Chris Harris. He's had a remarkable fairy tale from the lower leagues of English rugby to becoming a Scotland international.
He was a young man in my final year of professional rugby, Martin, and I have to say, had somebody told me he would be a Scotland and British and Irish Lion, I might have questioned it, but one thing, he always had the competitive spirit. Here, the commentators curse on Freddie Stewart.
But it's a collector's item, isn't it?
It certainly is. Very, very uncharacteristic of Stewart. You see, he actually watches it pretty much into his eyes. Possibly, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, possibly just lost it a little bit in the lights, but that's certainly one that you do not see many of with Freddie Stewart.
Great foot, good stability, good fixes.
Well, he's the 21-year-old who doesn't drop anything, but he has just dropped one.
The break foot up. Wait.
Meteoric rise in 2021.
And you say well deserved. You know, Eddie Jones has pushed some young players into this squad, but you know, the form of Stewart and Smith in particular has been there for everybody to see.
Marcus Smith, Freddie Stewart, both making their Six Nations debuts, both playing their first Test matches away from Twickenham.
Martin, it was something that was spoken of a little bit coming into this game. You know, obviously Marcus Smith, Finn Russell clash grabbed the headlines, but potentially an area whereby without Owen Farrell there is that lack of cohesion in that midfield, understanding how to guide them around the place. A lot of responsibility when you look at the 10 and 15 jerseys, the influence that they have on the game. Yes, you've got Ben Youngs nearing closer to becoming England's record cap holder, but there's a lot of experience missing. Laws and Farrell, just a few little moments in this game so far, we've possibly seen those moments count.
Free kick for Scotland. Duan van der Merwe. The tackle there from Tom Curry. There's Russell, fires it into the soaking green turf of Edinburgh.
Jamie on the line.
You'd mentioned it on a few occasions, though, Martin, that the weather conditions here, for anybody who's been watching the forecast the way I have come into this game, the conditions have been fantastic, given what we thought we were facing, and the players have certainly taken to it. Yes, kicking is a part of the game, but both sides just is the arm wrestle for territory, but both sides have shown a willingness to play when the time is right.
Luke Cowan-Dickie goes to Ezekwe at the front of the line-out. There goes Cowan-Dickie, the Exeter chief, just outside that England 22. Ben Youngs. Darcy Graham waits for it. Well, he's gone straight into Grant Gilchrist. It was unintentional, but it doesn't matter. It is a penalty.
Crossing, stop the tackler. Hey, just leave it. Crossing.
Again, good kick chase. See the work of Joe Marchant there. He actually just let Darcy Graham put the footwork on him earlier on in the game. Obviously led to the Ben White try on that occasion. Was just a little bit more patient, and as it was, Darcy Graham kind of danced his way into a corner and ran into Grant Gilchrist. It's a soft penalty for Scotland to concede, because it was actually a poor exit from Ben Young straight down the throat of Darcy Graham. Under no real pressure, he was able to catch and counter. So it's a 50-metre gain that England perhaps would not have expected from the initial kick. And interesting lineup here. I think Elliot Daly's slotted in on that left wing now. Marchant's gone to 13, certainly for this attack.
Hey.
The numberless backline that you referred to earlier on, Martin.
Yes,
perhaps.
Numberless backline, hybrid backline, call it what you will.
Luke in the middle line out. Let's go.
It is the new Eddie Jones way that we saw presented to us in November. It helped work against the world champion South Africa. Matt Fagerson urging Ben O'Keefe to tell England to get on with it.
In the middle, in the middle.
As are about 45 or 50,000 Scots here at Murrayfield. Ludlam that time.
Pen advantage again. Scotland going early.
It's one, just go inside.
Luke Cowan-Dickie just waiting to burst off the edge of that. Ellis Genge adding his power to it as well. Ben Youngs has it just outside the 22. Here's Henry Slade. Marcus Smith. In comes Elliot Daly that time from the wing. There's Ben Youngs quickly, and now there's a chance. Slade presents it. There's a new penalty advantage. Alarm bells really ringing here for the Scots. Freddie Stewart, just for a moment in at least two minds. His Leicester teammate sets it up. Very smooth hands from Sinclair onto Cowan-Dickie. Ben Youngs again, another powerful carry. And once again, as they did for most of the first half, the Scots soak up the pressure.
Will they go for three, or will they go for one of the pick and goes that we see from... Oh, we're going to get the answer pretty quickly. They're going to go for the posts, but I did wonder there, the Cowan-Dickie Simmons pick and go that we see so often for Exeter within the Gallagher Premiership. On this occasion, though, choosing to go for the 3 points and narrow it to a 1 point game. But Scotland guilty. You see, this was the third penalty. Darcy Graham, body weight goes beyond the ball, and then under the pressure of the clearing man, his arms come back onto the ball. You cannot do that. It was the third consecutive penalty conceded by Scotland.
I know you've got it on the same.
Yeah, we've got Tom Curry talking to Ben O'Keefe.
It was the first hands pass. We had one in the first half in the midfield. I'll keep watching. Thanks, Tom.
Well, the three penalty he has had today, Marcus Smith. They haven't demanded too much of him. But it's not dissimilar, certainly in the way the trend of the scoring is to last year at Twickenham. Just one Scotland try, Duan Fundamava, all the other points off the boot. A single point in it. Here goes Ludlam. Straight there into Zander Fagerson, the Fagerson brothers in that Scotland pack.
Okay, use it! Inside.
Well, that's not the best exit from the Leicester scrum half, there he is. Cap number 113 today. Jason Leonard holds the England record with 114.
Focus on you guys because you're off the mark.
It is remarkable, the career of Ben Youngs. He's had his detractors, but it's now 12 years since he made his England debut here in the Calcutta Cup.
And the 5 up. That's one.
There's Turner. Missing out Hamish Watson. There's the magician. Carried forward there by Rory Sutherland. He's sent thundering back onto his heels. Here's Ali Price. Hamish Watson again. Russell inside of Darcy Graham. What an important tackle that was from Ludlam. There goes Sam Johnson. Tom Curry all over the ball. That time it's Jamie Ritchie. Finn Russell.
Charge off White.
Snuffed out.
Off White.
And the England line speed in defence when they've had to defend has been very impressive.
Charge off White.
It's an excellent defensive set from England. Tom Curry, physicality, pressure. Maro Itoje for the first time. I was actually just thinking, we've not heard too much of his name so far this late afternoon. On that occasion, it was a big tackle in that, down in the 15-metre channel. But England, the defensive system coming into play for the first time in this match. Absolutely delight. Anthony Seibold, of course, the new defensive coach.
There's Gregor Townsend at the back, in the middle. Fans of South African rugby, fans of French rugby will recognise Peter de Villiers.
Is it right, Nick? Is it right, Nick? Always bound. Don't change. Okay,
There's actually another South African on the Scotland coaching staff these days, A.B. Zondag, who arrived here from South Africa via Toulouse.
Get ready.
England get the put in.
A couple of careless possessions for Scotland.
Use it as well.
And that will frustrate Gregor Townsend. A few changes now. Full front row.
I beg your pardon, Rory. Talking former South Africans, there's one. Lining up, Piers Schoeman. The Edinburgh loose head. He's on wearing 17. It's an entire front row alteration. Off goes Rory Sutherland. So too George Turner and Xander Fagerson. In comes Stuart McInally, Piers Schoeman and VP Willem Nel.
Yeah, no loss of dynamism on loose head or a hooker. And you've probably got a tight head prop who is the best tight head prop scrummager in Scotland, but less mobile than Xander Fagerson. But ultimately, you know, there's 30 minutes to go of this match. It's going to be in and around this set piece. It could just be a free kick or a penalty that could be the difference. And there's extra meat coming off the bench there. Some heavy artillery for Scotland, and certainly Gregor Townsend showing his bench hand earliest.
Well, Stuart McInally must feel he's got two hefty kudus underneath each arm.
Right head early. Yeah, sorry. Second time early.
Does a kudu
VP
rut?
now.
Does a kudu rut? Because I think VP Nel is guilty there of just rutting a little bit too soon.
I
think we'll leave it at that, Rory. No, he's a big, strong boy, is Willem Nel, but that being upgraded from a free kick to a penalty. And whereas there's Ben O'Keefe. I think it's fair to say he's a man with a reputation for being, if not the best rugby referee in the world at the moment, certainly among the top 3 or 4. That's a Zikwe. There's Cowan Dickey again.
Same move.
The Scotland defence of this maul being tested again. Grant Gilchrist just flying in there. He's got to retreat.
advantage, collapsing back
It's another penalty advantage. Here goes Ben Youngs, Marcus Smith. On his Six Nations debut, the boy wonder has delivered.
Oh, he certainly has. But his route to the whitewash made infinitely easier by the work of the beasts up front. His pinpoint accuracy in the line-out throw, and from there it's all about the big boys carving the opportunity. The maul goes infield, and from there it's a free hit for England, knowing that they've got penalty advantage. Grant Gilchrist, you see Ben Youngs, just he lifts his eyes, and late, look at his late movement. Marcus Smith, Youngs goes out, interests Ali Price. He has a nibble on the inside, and from there, defensively, Scotland are compromised. Smith with a pace round the corner. Darcy Graham ends up stepping up on Marchant rather than Smith. And you see the celebrations from Henry Slade as Marcus Smith goes over. What a moment for that young man. Lit up the Premiership. Now he's lighting up Murrayfield under the lights.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about.
Martin Gleeson, the attack coach, there on the right. Unable to contain his delight. Now, can Smith take the England lead to 6 points? Finn Russell was the hero for Scotland in that famous Calcutta victory here 4 years ago. Will this time it be Marcus Smith? Well, it was a bit of a hook.
Credit Ben Youngs. The outside angle just managed to interest Ali Price enough. He bit in, and from there it was the movement of Smith to create the space, but everything created up front. The heavies and the maul accuracy to generate that momentum and field position was there, and England capitalised for the first time in this game with a 5-pointer.
The Scots being asked further questions. How can they respond now? Plenty of time on the clock. We've still got 25 minutes.
Use it! I think it's fine inside.
Much better kick there from Ben Youngs.
Okay, middle of the line out.
You see he's got a shape, he's got to take a step back and almost kick over his left shoulder, knowing the pressure that's going to come on. He's done well to howk it up there to the halfway line. Really important that Scotland find 10-15 minutes of good stuff here to put themselves in a position to chase down this deficit. They've just struggled to get possession and keep a hold of it so far in this game.
Here's Price. Hogg was under pressure, couldn't find his man. Darcy Graham has got to try and recover the situation, and how well is he doing it? Got himself a little bit isolated, but the supporting players got there quickly. That was Matt Fagerson. Now Scotland realise they have to really play. Ben O'Keefe had to be fairly light on his feet just to stay out of the way that time. Here's Schumann. Well grabbed there by Jamie Ritchie. Well aware that he was running out of real estate on this side. Here's Hamish Watson. On to Gilchrist. Another one to the tackle count of Tom Curry. Russell always plays with so much time. The Scotland fly half. Chris Harris. There goes McInally. Schumann again. The crowd draws breath. Gilchrist. That was well grabbed by Johnson. Once again, this defensive press from England proving efficient, but there was a tackle miss there. They got through Cowan-Dickey, but now it's been lost. And England dangerous on the counter. Back goes the captain, Hogg, all the way into his 22. There's a problem here! Oh, I say, how dangerously he lived, and he continues to do so.
My goodness, I'm not sure Stuart Hogg quite understood where Max Malins was sniffing down on his shoulder. He's actually done brilliantly to manage to regather and and regain possession, but it's a 70-yard turnaround from a poor pass.
And Ali Price with the clearance, and we can all pause for a moment. Well, he's a world-class fullback, is Stuart Hogg. Every now and again, though, he has his moments, and that was almost another of them.
Look at Malins, I'm sure he thought, I've just been gifted one here, almost an OG. But from there, Hogg did brilliantly, didn't he? Even just to buy himself half a second, sees his teammate Henry Slade in front of him, gets a fend on Elliot Daly to buy himself another half a second. But England just starting to turn the screw coming to this final quarter.
Well, just for a moment, he was looking more confused than I do over a game of Wordle.
White down to the front!
It's there with Cowan Dickey.
That's one!
Approaching the end of the third quarter.
Ball is out, advantage knock on!
Oh, it's picked up by McAnally. And there goes Johnny Gray. Ali Price. Well, for a moment, it was ricocheting off his neck and his shoulder. And there's a Scotland player down who looks in some distress, just outside the 22.
I think it is McAnally from the turnover. I don't know if he got hit late-ish. Ali Price brilliantly to get through on his opposite man. Ben Youngs forces the turnover, and from there, here's McAnally. He just stepped inside, got the ball away. It's fairly innocuous, but I think he stayed down after that. Ali Price just wanted that ball earlier.
Tackle's been made on Ben Youngs.
On Ben Youngs, yeah.
Yeah, he's palmed the ball back on the floor.
Yeah. Oh look, I had a knock on and knock in.
Well, while this is going on, Stuart Hogg is having another long chat with the referee.
Yeah, mate, I get that, but I saw a clear knock on that we gave you benefit of the doubt. You guys ran and caught advantage of it. Good question though, all right?
Well, Scotland preparing to make more alterations.
It's
Jamie Ritchie who's down in some distress. Magnus Bradbury, you can see on the touchline, just stripping off.
So off blue in the touch, white ball.
So Edinburgh man for Edinburgh man. Magnus Bradbury been in absolutely brilliant form for the capital side. It is a loss for Jamie Ritchie. Just seeing him, it is worrying. He went to get to his feet and then just went to put weight through whichever joint it is that it looks like he's injured, and immediately hit the deck, and Dr. James Robson signalled across for a stretcher or for some more attention.
Okay, guys, I think we're getting a stretcher, so we've got some time here, okay? We've got some time.
And the Princess Royal, ever present in these parts.
The one over here.
For Scotland internationals.
No, you guys went down the front and you came around and it was fine. So I was happy. No, good.
There is Magnus Bradbury. His mother quite a figure in the administration of Scottish rugby.
Yeah, former president and lovely lady, and I think obviously Magnus Bradbury had his challenges a few years ago, but my goodness, he has been resurgent for Edinburgh under Mike Blair as head coach there, and this is potentially a change that might have been planned for Gregor Townsend had there not been for an injury, but not right now. And it was probably going to be a Matt Fagerson shift with Bradbury, but as it is, Bradbury very capable of playing on that blindside flank. Ritchie will undoubtedly be a loss, particularly at the line out, and we all hope that this isn't a long-term injury to Jamie Ritchie. We don't like to see any player stretchered off. It's been dealt with fairly quickly and he's sitting up, but we will wait to see when the dust settles on this.
Also coming on, Sione Tuipulotu, the Glasgow player. He comes on and replaces Sam Johnson. Yes, Ritchie will be, you're absolutely right, in terms of the problems it will create for Scotland in the line-out. They don't have the number of options that England do have in that department.
Really interesting looking through the stats. Scotland's biggest carrier, or most carries at the moment, Stuart Hogg, 8 carries. The next best, Jamie Ritchie at 5, and beyond that it's all 4 3s and 2s. And you know, Sam Johnson's played 60 minutes of this match and he's had a grand total of 2 carries, and he's now been turned around. So you know, that's a frustrating afternoon, no doubt. He's had to make 7 tackles, but just goes to show, again, the work that Scotland are having to do on the other side of the ball, to which they'd like to be doing it.
Not really enough depth on that kick from Ben Youngs, but it's Sam Simmonds who claims it for England. Here's Ben Youngs, comes onto the open side, finds Kyle Sinclair. Youngs onto Marcus Smith. Elliot Daly, well, that was meant for Ellis Genge, and it had slipped through his mitts before he'd realised, but there was no knock on. Into the final quarter.
This kicking from Ben Youngs, I mean, it's almost paid off on that occasion. Duhan's gone.
Well, the referee could so easily have called a knock on there, but he gave the benefit of the doubt to Van der Merwe. And then Scottish players just going straight off their feet at the breakdown.
Ceiling. Straight on.
And again, England celebrate the penalty for off feet in the clear out, but it's a little bit mindless for England, just kicking. You're 30 metres out, 40 metres out in front of the posts of Scotland, and box kicking straight down the throat of the back three into the 22. Admittedly, Duhan van der Merwe couldn't gather it. Smith has bitten off more than he could chew here as well, so that's an error. One of the few for Marcus Smith this afternoon.
Yep. Good.
Well, that's gone high into the Edinburgh sky. Oh, and Finn Russell puts it down, but it went backwards. Ali Price just shoveling the ball on. Scotland just outside their 22, England competing so well again, and Ludlam is in there to pick it up. Ali Price just grabbing hold of a leg. Youngs with a chip over the top.
Where is it, Craig?
Well, he had to be on his mettle again there, did Matt Ferguson. But we're coming back for a penalty to England.
13, offside.
See, there's a totally different conversation. Marcus Smith's kick,
kicker.
Absolutely bang on the money. Gave Joe Marchant something to chase after, and a competition against Finn Russell, who was very much the last line of defence, and from there he didn't gather it. England could then envelop the Scotland players and start building that ruck pressure, and from there Chris Harris has jumped out of line in that midfield. England have the chance. It's another gimme for Marcus Smith, really. I don't want to give him the commentator's curse as such here, but 20 metres out, bang in front of the sticks. You just see here with the penalties conceded, the last 5 of them against Scotland in this second half, and perhaps highlighting the pressure that England continue to build on the hosts.
It really is a minor miracle that Scotland are still in this match. They have been outplayed in almost every department in the opening hour. Well, even after that, Scotland are still within a converted try of levelling things up.
And Eddie Jones is going to look to double down here. Some heavy artillery coming off the bench now.
Well, they changed both props. Joe Marler, Will Stewart, they come on. And also, it's welcome back to that fella in the England rugby wilderness. Now he's back, George Ford.
Don Brandt straight into action as well.
Inside.
Youngs with the clearance. Again, not the best. There is Joe Marler. COVID impacted on him in both November and in the run into this test match.
Guys, I'm talking you too much. You're off the mark. You're clearly in front. Well, England's dipping across.
Ben O'Keefe is taking no nonsense at all.
Scrum called, I think, as well.
Scrum called.
Sam Skinner's on. It's interesting, Ben White on again. Obviously was the head injury assessment replacement to pick up his debut cap, and obviously the try in that first half. But Both sides starting to ring the changes. Gregor Townsend rolling the dice, looking for the impact. Eddie Jones just looking for fresh leg, the finishers as he calls them. But I struggle to remember the last time Scotland had a scrum set piece inside England's half. It's only the second scrum Scotland have had in this match.
Sam Skinner of Exeter comes on for his Chiefs teammate, Johnny Gray. England have got the two number 8 specialists in the back row alongside the captain.
Both teams moving. Stability, then the ball's in, okay?
Marcus Smith, Ellis Genge, you can also see there Lewis Ludlam.
Everyone hit and stay. He's good.
15 minutes to go. And you do think here that if Scotland are to get themselves back into this match, this scrummage in itself will be so telling. They need a lift.
Sit!
It's solid. There's White. The cross kick from Russell. It's gone straight to Van der Merwe, who's got past the second defender. White again, missing out Skinner. It's another cross kick this time. Well, the questions will be asked. Was that punched into touch? I don't need to tell you what the majority of the crowd here at Murrayfield think.
I'll tell you what I've got live. Yep, Stuart, we're all over this, mate. Trust me, we're all over it.
The consequences here could be quite significant.
What I've seen is that he's jumped, he's clearly hit the ball into touch, and it's gone forward. There's no other defenders. So at the moment I'm on penalty try and yellow card. We'll go upstairs and check it, just to clear those things off. Anything you want to add? Yeah, okay, cool.
We're almost certainly going to see a yellow card. We might even see a penalty try.
Well, it comes down to
mate,
the
we
question.
See some potential foul play here, whether the players deliberately knock that ball forward into touch. So we'll look at that and see what sanction we need to make, please.
Yeah, your best angles are coming up now, Ben. I heard everything you said. Here they are.
It's
television match official Ben Whitehouse.
Well, it's desperation, and there is nothing more clear than that. That Luke Cowan-Dickie has patted that ball out deliberately. It's almost like he's trying to tee it up for a.
So
for me, it has to be a penalty try. Darcy Graham is an international winger, and it would be a given that he would catch that ball and run it in. There's no other defender.
It is a huge moment in the Calcutta Cup. It will be 7 points, it'll be 17 points apiece.
I agree with you.
Just to be clear, Luke Cowan-Dickie's foul play here, he's taken out of the equation with that foul play.
So back on me. So mate, the player's clearly come across. We can see him deliberately push the ball into touch, so it's a deliberate action into touch. He's the last player, last line of defence. By that action, they've stopped a probable try. It's going to be a yellow card and a penalty try against 2.
It's a full house for Scotland. They are level, and they will have now, for all but the last 5 minutes of the match, a one-man advantage. The balance of power in the Calcutta Cup may well have shifted.
What a moment. Luke Cowan-Dickie doesn't agree, but what a moment in this match. And I have to say, Martin, you mentioned it, the importance of that scrum. And it was a 9-10 Finn Russell kick pass to Duhan van der Merwe down the left touchline, made 10-15 metres, and immediately after that there was a 9-10 Finn Russell kick pass across onto this right touchline, totally exposing the English defence. Luke Cowan-Dickie out of his depth in the outside channel, and from there they're capitalising, they're back on level terms, the books are balanced. What a final 14 minutes we have in this game. 9 or 10 of them will be without Luke Cowan-Dickie. England will have 14.
Well, you have to say, there was a lack of communication there from the Scots.
Let's go, Scotland numbers. 5.
What must Eddie Jones be thinking? Martin Gleeson to his left, Matt Proudfoot in front of him. Penalty advantage to Scotland.
Is it fair to say there's been a little shift in momentum in the past 2 or 3 minutes, Martin? From this, you know, Scotland capitalise, it's a penalty try, and just the same over-eagerness from Maro Itoje that we've seen from Grant Gilchrist on a few occasions in the line-out, and there's been a huge shift in momentum now. 14 men of England, Scotland finally finding some belief in this match.
Excellent.
And can they suddenly make this one-man advantage
5. Good work.
and this purple patch that they found over the past 2 minutes count?
Well, there were Scots manning the lifeboats about 20 minutes ago. They've been thrown a lifeline. Now, can they grab it? And look at this from Scotland. It's McAnally.
That's one. You're fine.
Here's White. Russell. Pinpoint.
Outstanding game management by Finn Russell. Not trying to get ahead of himself again. The platform of the big boys up front, just sees space in behind, understands that Stewart's got so much ground to cover in that backfield, and Scotland don't need to win the game in the next few minutes, but they need to put themselves in a position to do so. And Finn Russell, so famed for the box of tricks that he has with ball in hand, but on that occasion there, it's his kicking skill that we saw for the penalty try that we've also seen once again. Of course, no hooker now as well, so even more pressure. England can't change their hooker. Joe Marler's going to throw in.
They will have to bring on a hooker if we have a scrum, but not for this.
Oh, that's
well,
not
it
five.
hasn't gone 5 metres. It's almost 40 years since Scotland won back-to-back Calcutta Cups. The opportunity has presented itself. They now need a scrum. They need a front row to England. Tom Curry just saying, come on lads, let's take a deep breath. So on comes Jamie George. They will sacrifice Sam Simmons. It is going to be a 7-man England scrum. So Rory, you've been out there 4 times. You've played in these Calcutta Cup matches. What call does Scotland make now?
Well, I think it'll be scrum first, that's for starters, and England will be desperate for their 7 men to do the job. But I think Scotland will have a go initially, but this Scotland field is so wide. You see Duhan van der Merwe is making his way towards that left touchline, potentially a little bit of deception in the midfield. Darcy Graham parked up behind the scrum, which means 2 England defenders have to defend the blind side.
Flower of Scotland ringing around Murrayfield. It's 2 years since Murrayfield had a crowd in for a Six Nations match. In fact, it was the last day of crowds before COVID imposed matches played behind closed doors. It was here against France when they beat the French almost 2 years ago, and now every Scot cheering on their 8 men here in blue. It's a penalty to Scotland.
Pulling back unstable.
Decisions.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't take the 3 points, but sometimes when you know momentum's behind you, you go for it again. As looks, Ben White, certainly his actions suggest that he's waiting for a scrum. Stuart Hogg's come all the way forward from his fullback position for the strike. They make a decision, perhaps asking the pack,
Shot called, you're on the line.
get the scoreboard get ahead on the scoreboard and then worry about the next bit.
Well, Gregor Townsend, not quite as relaxed as he was when I spoke to him last night. He was watching his son Christian over the back playing with Scotland in the under-20s match. The call here, the pressure rests on the coolest head in Scotland. When it comes to big moments in careers, this is certainly among them for Finn Russell. Scotland lead again.
England now just desperate for some field position, try and get possession to be able to control the clock. They've got 3.5 minutes without Luke Cowan-Dickie. Well, that one's perhaps a bit fortuitous.
By White first in the air. Okay.
Well, I think both sides appealing for the ball. You can see the assistant. Now, does it catch the hand here of Marchant?
Yes.
Well, I think it did. So it's a knock-on, and the reaction there from Marchant is telling.
I have to say, I think that's really great officiating by Ben O'Keefe. He's spoken to Ben Whitehouse, understanding the significance of that call to get it right.
Stay high.
Could have been easy. Nick Berry on this near side touchline. The ball came down about 2 metres in front of him, so he was closest to it.
And he was awarding a line out for England.
He was indeed. But sometimes things happen so fast in there, and you miss the ricochet. As it is, Ben Whitehouse has the fortune to watch it back again. Feeds through to Ben O'Keefe. They get the decision right. Scotland breathe again.
Scotland need another solid scrum. Remember, it's 8 against 7. They need the exit as well. It's gone to Tuipulotu, the big carrier in the midfield.
Needs to be careful with that roll, though.
Stay there, stay there.
That is another element that officials are clamping down on in this championship. Here's White. Oh, he's been charged down by Itoje.
Advantage for offside.
But England have come offside. Another huge call goes the way of the Scots.
Never on, I just went early.
Ben White's heart rate might have been 190 beats per minute when he scored the try. It's just gone to 200 there when he heard the big paw of Maro Itoje knock that ball backwards. Relieved to hear the shrill blow of Ben O'Keefe's whistle to say that Itoje was offside. Oh, I'm not sure about that one actually. It's fine lines, but on that occasion, the pressure, you always know Itoje is going to be climbing all over you as a scrum half. On that occasion though, just the penalty goes Scotland's way.
That's one!
Scotland claim the line out. They've got another 1 minute with a one-man advantage. There goes McInally. Done by Curry, and Curry's hurt himself. Here's Darcy Graham. Curry just getting back to his feet, but I think he's picked up a stinger. Russell on there to McInally. Tuipulotu. That was Bradbury just dropping his shoulder. 5 minutes to go in the Calcutta Cup. Scotland have possession. They have a 3-point lead. What a climax. Terrific carry there from Sam Skinner. On goes Hamish Watson. They're up to the 22. Russell. That's the captain Hogg getting into the action. Pierce Schoeman. Here's White again. VP now. That England player's got to get out of the way. It's going to be a penalty. Darcy Graham goes on. Scotland looking to go in for the kill, and then Finn Russell has spilt it forward. But there is a chance to add 3 points. There's a chance to run down the clock. Scotland, through the Drich afternoon here in Edinburgh, can see the finish line.
Oh, they can. That's an opportunity missed there, potentially. Penalty advantage. Finn Russell just not able to gather a low pass from Ben White. I expect them to take the 3 points here. But there's a check coming in here from the TMO.
You come in for a check for foul play. There's a potential neck roll that you want me to look at. Put it on the screen, please.
Yeah, we'll get it on the screen as soon as the director's got the angles.
We've got a potential neck roll.
You'll be looking at blue 7. He's round the neck and he rolls the play around.
And it's clearly before this penalty, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's before the advantage, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so put it on the screen.
So this is almost no doubt for me, Martin, when you get the TMO feeding in, it's not even a potential neck roll. I'd imagine Hamish Watson, by the sound of things, on the clear out. Television directors just trying to get the right clear out. But this is again a huge moment in this match. Scotland seemingly with a penalty to extend the lead to 6 points, and this could be a big shift, particularly England back to 15 now.
Sam Simmons has come back on.
Here it is, Ben.
Well, it's over on the right there, and it is.
We'll show you some other angles now.
7 on 7. It's Hamish Watson on the England captain.
So 7's a jackal there. Okay, 7's a jackal there.
Well, that is clear, isn't it?
There's contact around the neck. I've just got a penalty. Okay, so
I totally agree with you, and I'll get the mark.
Okay, cool. So back to me.
We're just getting a wide angle to get the mark now.
Yeah.
Well, the penalty is going to be reversed.
It's the right decision. Again, it's just the competitive beast to his bootstraps. Tom Curry, every opportunity has to get over the top of the ball. He does so on that occasion. McInally and Watson.
Okay, Ben, it's
such fine lines.
10 metres out from the try line, in between the 10 and 5.
Clear contact around the neck. It's a roll when there's a jack on the ball, so it's just a penalty here. Just wait.
It's incredibly difficult for Hamish Watson to actually shift Tom Curry without latching onto something there. But it's the action of moving the head to one side for the neck roll. If he drives straight there,
penalty.
He probably gets away with it, but instead he's got to hold and he's got to roll him out of that tackle scenario. And Tom Curry affecting that breakdown, rewarded for that secondary effort after the tackle. England still have 65 metres to go, but they have hope.
The wind blows in all sorts of directions in places like Murrayfield, but bear in mind, if there is a general wind direction, it is into the face of England. That was why George Ford had to be certain of making his touch. There's his Leicester teammate, Ben Youngs. Crucial catch this for Van der Merwe. Doesn't always look the most confident and steady under the high ball, Duan Van der Merwe, but with one exception today, he's done well. That's Matt Fagerson. Penalty goes against the Scots.
Will Stewart. Well, you've got a man of his size over the top of the ball. Scotland just looking to consolidate from the kick return. Go to the blind side to set up the box kick, but they don't win the collision. And that gave Will Stewart the 25 metres to go, long way from the ball. But look at Will Stewart here, over the top. Don Brandt gets out of the tackle. From there, the collision wasn't won by Matt Fagerson, and he stayed in the fight, Stewart. Got his hands on the ball in a position to affect it, rewarded accordingly.
Even allowing for the conditions, that was conservative from George Ford. Oh, and it's been stolen in the line-out. White does the mopping up. Scotland need to get the exit right. England will do all they can to disrupt.
No, it was on his foot. It's taken back, use it.
Scotland will be looking to protect that ball like an infant child. Huge hoof. Malins. Space in which to run.
Tackle!
10 metres inside the Scotland half. A little more than a minute to go in the Calcutta Cup. There's Ford. Malins again. Skinner it was who held him up. That time it's a Toje. Gilchrist just trying to get his hands on it. The Scots have to be mindful of their discipline. It's turned by Schoeman, but then it was knocked on by Scotland.
It's a brilliant piece of play by Pierre Schoeman, but he's then thrown the ball back, and Maro Itoje is onside, and he's able to compete with Grant Gilchrist from that. I think it's been given as a knock-on. Was it Sam Skinner in and around that tackle area? It was a bit of a shambles. It was initially good stuff from Schoeman to get the steal. 30 seconds to go. This game's going to pretty much be done by the time we get this scrum.
Matt Fagerson is the Six Nations player of the match.
Got to keep it up, both teams. Stability, steady.
Scotland's top tackler on a day that they've had to make a lot of tackles stick. 125 tackles made, only 6 tackles missed, an outstanding return, and of those, Fagerson's had 16 of those tackles. What a moment, what a way to bring a climax, this match to a climax. Jack Nowell probably knows that his next cap isn't going to be forthcoming.
It's the final play of the match.
There was no advantage there.
It will be reset. Gregor Townsend, he's out of his seat. What must he be thinking? The stats show that Gregor Townsend is the best, most successful coach Scotland have ever had, better even than Ian McGeechan in terms of matches won.
He's one good defensive set away from adding to that win rate, Martin, but this game is far from over yet. England's putting at the scrum. What a moment, what a game we've had, what a contest. So much drama, so much action. And to think that the 81 minutes now comes down to this.
The 51st Test match that Gregor Townsend has been in charge of as Scotland coach. They are just moments away from a 30th victory in that period. We will have another reset. The clock ticks on further into the red numbers.
Both these players this side have gone down.
This is really good refereeing from Ben O'Keefe. He's not willing to guess about what's happened in there and penalise one side one way or another.
You two, you've got to keep the scrum up, okay? Scotland, keep it up.
The Scotland coach's box is just 3 or 4 metres to our left here. Gregor Townsend on his feet, there he is. Steve Tanney, no nails, fingers, nails left to bite away. They can't do anything now, though. It's all about these 15 players on each side on field. England setting up really interesting setup. Stewart and Ford in behind that scrum, the 2 Leicester Tigers. Young's in possession.
Time off, time off. Time off.
We're going to hear from Ben O'Keefe here. We don't mind a 3rd reset when it's the last play, theoretically.
Now, I've given you clear messages about where we need the scrum. It's space from both teams, okay? It's height from both teams. Both of you, all of you are at fault, okay? The first team to keep it up will be rewarded, all right? But I'm not guessing. Be accurate, we'll have another scrum. Keep the space.
Just how good is it to have the crowds back?
The heavens have started opening as well. Martin, the rain is teeming down. It'll make it that ball that little bit wetter as well for this last play.
The Calcutta Cup reaches its crescendo. We still don't know who's won it. Well, it's a terrible mess.
We got to finish the scrum.
And Ben O'Keefe wants to see it all again.
No one's gone forward. Just gone straight around.
Ben O'Keefe, the coolest customer in this stadium at the moment. He knows that he's got 55,000 Scots here, desperate for him to blow the final whistle, and probably about 20,000 England fans praying that they get the opportunity for one more go at this. He's certainly not willing to guess on his decision at scrum. He did say use it, but he wanted a completed scrum. He said both sides were wheeling the scrum. It's a pretty even contest in there. Which side can get the edge?
Crouch! 5,
It comes down to this.
9, use it!
A solid Scottish scrum. George Ford. Good tackle coming from Chris Harris. Scotland have turned it. All they've got to do is get it into touch. The ball goes back. The captain fires it as far as he can. Scotland have done it. Back-to-back Calcutta Cup triumphs for the first time in 4 decades. England beaten again. Every man in blue is a hero. Rugby's greatest championship has delivered on the opening weekend. An absolute classic.
Sensational stuff from Scotland. What a finish to the game as well. Take a bow, Darcy Graham, the smallest man on the field, went in to effect the turnover tackle and scooped that ball back onto the Scottish side. They capitalised, and Stuart Hogg hoofing into touch. The game is over. What a win for Scotland.
Final score in Murrayfield. Scotland have done it. They have won back-to-back Calcutta Cups. They have beaten England by 20 points to 17. Well, Rory, you can see this through the prism as a Scot now, because I'm going to ask you, what does it mean to this part of the world?
I think the crowd will tell you with that cheer. I think there'll be 5 million people in Scotland who are out of their seats or hiding behind the sofa for the final 5 minutes of that scrum that seemed to go on forever. But I have to say, this Scottish playing group, the Scottish coaching group, has just done a phenomenal job of continuing to turn up, play to a high quality. This is a good England side. This is an England side filled with quality, filled with ability. They're young, they're missing some key men, but they took Scotland right to the brink this afternoon. Having said that, you cannot argue. 13 points, almost without answer, I think, in that. No, 10 points without answer in that final 15 minutes. The yellow card proved crucial, and Scotland have done enough to retain the Calcutta Cup back-to-back years, and you can see with the hugs on field, the young children out of their seats celebrating. It's epic. Scotland's waited a long time for this, and this group of players have turned up and given them what they wanted.
Well, Rory, we do have a whole host of stats presented to us during the game, but there is one that leaps out to me. When you consider the pressure the Scots had to absorb, just 6 tackles missed by Scotland. Let's hear now from the man of the match.
Well, many congratulations. That's history.
Yeah.
You retain the Calcutta Cup for the first time since 1984. The emotions.
Oh yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think, you know, we've been building as a squad for 2 years, and I think this is probably just the culmination of it all. You know, every time we come to Murrayfield, every time we play, we want to win, and we put all the work in throughout the week, and then it was getting a bit harum-scarum in the beginning of the second half, but you know, it just shows the heart of the boys to bring it home in the end, and you know, the crowd were a massive part of that. So yeah.
You were down 7 points. England had the momentum. What were you saying to each other?
Yeah, I think it's just going back to basics. You know, they scored points and we had an exit, so just to exit well, get back up the pitch and just re-put the pressure back on them.
We eulogise a lot about Finn Russell, but let's do it again. How much did he have such a key influence in that last quarter?
Yeah, massively. I think his kicking game is probably the best in the world, and you know, it showed that when he went end to end with Duhan and then to Darcy. So yeah, oh look, it's amazing playing with him, and yeah, it just sort of relieves a lot of the pressure off of us big boys having to go up and down the park.
Jamaica, this atmosphere, listen to it.
Yeah,
and how much were you conscious of this in the last 20 minutes?
Oh, massively. I think in the anthems especially, you know, when the music went off, well, it was hard to hold back the tears, you know, it was pretty emotional, so we could hear them throughout, and it was massive. Yeah, awesome.
Goosebumps, right?
Yeah.
Many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You are the man of the match. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, it means so much to the Scots. There's Finn Russell and Gregor Townsend, and let's be honest, have not had the easiest relationship throughout their time, but I'm sure today they're joining together. Gregor Townsend himself, of course, such a superb international. He can empathise entirely with a man like Finn Russell.
Well, he certainly can, but you know, this moniker of a maverick as Finn Russell is now gone, I think, into the ether. He is a man who knows how to run a game of rugby. You heard Matt Fagerson acknowledge his kicking game. He's known for his ability to attack, and a lot of people just associate that with ball in hand, but nowadays rugby is about finding space on field when you're in possession, and a lot of that comes from kicking. Most defences operate with a lot of men high on the line, and Finn Russell, as we've seen again this afternoon and early evening, has managed to find that space. No more so than the penalty try in that second half. Two outstandingly accurate kicks that were right on the money, the second of which Luke Cowan-Dickie was forced to pat the ball out of play under the pressure of Darcy Graham. Scotland rewarded by 7, and also let's acknowledge 100% off the tee for both kickers. Actually, Smith missed the conversion of his own try, but Finn Russell's 100% off the tee kept the scoreboard ticking and have given Scotland the platform to win it. And we always knew it was going to be fine margins, the narrowest decision here or there, and this afternoon it could have been a different day for England on another afternoon. This way it's gone Scotland's, and I mean, his delight, his joy. Stuart Hogg gets to come up these steps and collect the Calcutta Cup, and I almost guarantee the measure of the man will be that he's got Ben White will be holding it for the team photo behind the banner when he eventually reappears from the crowd with that Calcutta Cup. What a moment for Ben White. First cap, debut, off the bench, scores a try. There we go. Obviously COVID times.
Well, Anne, Princess Royal, will enjoy this special moment. There she is, and she looks on, and it is the man who scored the opening try moments into his debut. Stuart Hogg alongside Finn Russell, and Scotland now will be hoping that this is a team that can continue to deliver throughout this championship. Their record, let's be honest, is not great in recent years. They haven't won the championship in this millennium, and here she comes, and Princess Royal, the formal presentation to Stuart Hogg.
Put your hands together for your winners, for Scotland!
The crowds have been away for 2 years, and what a match to deliver at Murrayfield. Darcy Graham alongside Rory Sutherland.
Just an amazing occasion. I think England and Scotland fans alike were outstanding in the stadium. Maybe it's a sign of the times that we are turning now that Stuart Hogg doesn't have to present himself with the Calcutta Cup, and Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal, obviously the patron of Scottish rugby. It'll mean a lot to her as well, being able to present that famous trophy to the men in blue. And they'll now go round for their laugh of honour. England, very gracious in defeat. They will be back for more.
Well, let's catch up now with the Scotland captain, Stuart Hogg.
Stuart, give me a sense of the emotions that are swirling around you right this second.
I've absolutely no idea what you said there, but I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. I think for us to be able to come out here and put on a show and show what we're about, and you know, at times we got it right, at times we're up against it. You know, England are a fantastic side, but look, we're absolutely delighted with that.
I want to take you into that moment where you boot the ball off the pitch to win and retain retain the Calcutta Cup. Just tell me about the emotions that were swirling through you.
Oh, unbelievable. I think for Darcy Graham to get that turnover right at the end, you know, a little pocket rocket is, you know, 5 foot nothing, and he managed to get that turnover for us, and no, I was just absolutely delighted. A full score effort.
You're 7 points down. England had all the momentum at that point. Where is this self-belief now coming from Scotland, that you can win a game that you might previously have lost?
I think the big thing that we want is to believe in ourselves as individuals and believe in us as a collective. And you know, I said this time last year that this was the start of something special, and next week is a challenge to back it up and be better again.
You've never won this Six Nations Championship. Could this be Scotland's year?
Oh, look, we're not going to get carried away. This is one victory, and you know, we'll get back to the drawing board on Monday and make sure that we work incredibly hard to back it up and be the best version of ourselves next Saturday.
Did you get a bit premature with getting your mitts on that trophy just now? You had to wait for royalty, you know.
I've not a clue what you said there, sorry.
That's just his crowd. Just enjoy the moment, why
Thank
not?
you.
Well
Cheers,
done.
guys. Thank you.
Well, how good it is for Stuart Hogg to find the crowd drowning him out or drowning out Sonny McLaughlin there with the questions. Tom Curry having a chat there with Gregor Townsend. But there they are, 23 Scots. Finn Russell, always got the look of the cheeky chappie.
Plays with a smile on his face, but he certainly turned up and fronted up, and he knew that the pressure would be on him this afternoon. He is a talisman for Scotland, but a lot of the Scottish leaders turned up. They were incredibly good this afternoon, while under a huge amount of pressure.
Well, let's hear now from the beaten captain, Tom Curry.
Well, Tom, that was a dramatic game, a dramatic finish. Just give me your emotions at the minute of coming off second best.
Yeah, I mean, it was up, down, you know. First half, I probably thought we put ourselves in really good position. Second half, probably discipline cost us. So, yeah, it's just one of those games, mixed emotions, really.
Yeah, England's discipline had been excellent until that moment that Luke Cowan-Dickie got a yellow card. Your view of that, how much was that a turning point?
Sorry, what was that last bit?
Your view of that yellow card for Luke Cowan-Dickie, how much it was a turning point? Luke Cowan-Dickie's yellow card, how much was that a turning point?
Listen, we can't... If we're going to win big games and big moments like that, we can't rely on just one moment in the game. So yeah, we'll get around, we'll have a look, but you know, at the end of the game, it's a game of 80 minutes, not just one moment. So we need to reflect and be better ourselves.
You had so much possession territory in that first half. How much did it cost you that you didn't get more points on the board?
Whoever scores more points wins, doesn't it? But yeah, I mean, I think credit to them, they put a lot of pressure on the tackle area, the breakdown. And we probably weren't accurate enough, and it slowed us down. So, as I said, we'll have a look at it, but mixed emotions.
Can I ask you about this moment, though, when you lead England out in the Calcutta Cup for the first time as captain? What was that like for you, the emotions?
Yeah, it's an emotional day, but we play rugby to win. So, as I said, bittersweet.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, mixed emotions for England. Nothing mixed about the reaction from Scotland. It has been a special day in Edinburgh. Scotland, that turning point, there's no doubt. The penalty try was so decisive.
Gregor, I get the distinct impression we might struggle to hear each other. Just how much emotion is coursing through you, through Murrayfield right now?
Amazing. I don't think any Scottish supporter has been excited about a set of scrums at the end of a game, or as nervous about a set of scrums at the end of a game like that. It was, look, it's a great occasion. That's why sport in the Six Nations is something you have to live through. That was a brilliant end for us, obviously.
And what were you thinking, having to endure that set of scrums with just, 1 point lead?
You know, it was crossing my mind what England might do if they won a penalty. Would they kick to the corner? Would they go for the draw? But fortunately, it wasn't decided on a penalty. It was decided on an error. So it was tough conditions in that second half for both teams. So we probably would have backed our defence just to go through the phases anyway, because it would have been hard to break us down with a wet ball.
How impressive is Scotland's self-belief right now?
It's great. Character, fitness, self-belief is there. Like we had a lot of that game without the ball. I thought England played really well. We were just chatting as coaches there. They're going to be a real danger in the Six Nations to other teams. But we got through that period, and we were behind on the scoreboard, came back, and the confidence came through us. I thought some of our best rugby was in the last 15 minutes when it was terrible conditions. So, yeah, really proud of the team.
And how important the way that Finn Russell just controlled that last quarter?
He was outstanding the whole game. He was calm. He nailed his kicks. I thought he threw brilliant kicks to the corner, and then he was still able to play our shape and find holes in the defence. So he had a great game.
And you've retained the Calcutta Cup. It's the 80s since you did that. What does that mean to you, to this squad, your 50th game in charge?
Look, it means a lot to us, but it means more for our country, for the people here. We know how important this game is for Scotland as a nation. For us, we just wanted to focus on the game, and we delivered a winning performance. But we know that we can improve, and we'll have to improve if we want to win another trophy later on this season.
Many, many congratulations.
Thank you.